This is a ManeHustle Media podcast.
All the way from the A, you listen to My Favorite Lesbian on BRQ.
Hey, stay locked in with your favorite lesbian on Black Radical Queer. Yeah.
Hey y'all, this is Jhavia Nicole, aka your favorite lesbian, and you're listening to Black Radical Queer Podcast, our stories on our own terms. Hey y'all, this is Jhavia Nicole. Welcome to another episode of Black Radical Queer Podcast. This episode is going to be another one of the BRQ Couples Therapy segments. So for that, I have Courtney here, and we'll just get into the episode. Is there anything that you are just, burning to say before we get started? Oh, Lord. She's just laughing. So, I don't know. She's in a giggly, goofy mood, I guess.
Big up the island.
Okay, really? She was just waiting to say something foolish. Just waiting. Okay, that's enough. Can we actually get into the purpose of this episode?
Hey, guys, I miss y'all. Welcome back. BRQ, the best podcast on the internet. Let's go.
Anyway, so we're going to start with the Skin Deep cards as usual. And then we'll get into our, the rest of the episode. I'll let Courtney go first. When she reads whatever is on her card, she can decide if she wants to answer it first or have me answer it first. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
All right. How is our relationship different than my parents' relationship? I can answer this. We can both answer this. Why not?
Well, we both have to answer it anyway, but you can answer first.
I'm going to answer first because I'm a lady. My parents are not homosexual, so that's number one. My parents have had a very patriarchal relationship. I mean, they both worked, so that's something that's different. I mean, similar, but it was very patriarchal, you cater to the man kind of a thing. You know what I mean?
We both work. What do you mean?
I said that's something that's similar.
Oh.
She don't listen to me, y'all.
Anyway, we're not going to go there on this episode.
I mean, you can rewind the tape.
I can't.
I think what's different is I think we're more equal in the power structure, power dynamic. But I also feel like I am in a lot of ways like my father, but because I got to watch him make a lot of mistakes, you get to benefit from that. Congratulations.
Wow.
My communication is better. Theirs was pretty terrible. I think our communication is way better than there was. And we don't have the bullshit that comes with having a man in a relationship.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, so we don't have that. I'm not a Rolling Stone. I keep my hat at home. You know what I mean? Never mind.
What?
How else?
What you say never mind?
Nah, because Rolling Stones like pilots, bus drivers.
Papa was a Rolling Stone. Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that is niggas who got jobs and they always traveling, they tend to be, their hoeing tends to, go that way.
Dang.
I'm not like that.
Your dad was hoeing?
You've met my father.
I'm talking about while he was with your mother?
I have no confirmation of that, but I mean, you see him, so.
Dang.
He seemed like a hoe.
Dang.
My mother is older, so the age difference there. She's more established, had children. There's children there. There's no children here. They probably have more money than we do. They had more money. So, go ahead. You answer now.
How is our relationship different from my parents? Well, first of all, my parents barely had a relationship. They had a brief courtship, a brief and off and on courtship when my mom was young or whatever. They have an age gap. I don't know what your parents' age gap is outside.
6 years.
Oh, so yeah. So my parents have similar age gap. But my father's older. When they met, my mom was maybe 18, 19. And so he was in his 20s. And yeah, they had a very off and on relationship. And my mom had me, and then she had my sister. And her and my father were never in like a super long-term relationship. Like, I honestly, off the top of my head, do not know the longest stretch of time that they were together. I mean, I remember early on him not being around. So, yeah. So, our relationship is different because we actually have a relationship. My father was like similar to what Courtney said in terms of the Rolling Stone thing. He wasn't like a pilot or driving buses or anything. He just was out in these streets. He was a womanizer. He was entertaining multiple women and all that. His communication was not good with my mother. I feel like to an extent he kind of strung her and other women along. And so I think that our relationship is different because we do communicate with each other, whether it's, something that's simple or something that's difficult. We actually have a relationship. We have a marriage. My parents were never married. I think the biggest thing on both sides is communication. The way that we communicate and the way that the structure of our relationship is just not like our parents. I mean, it's very different. Even like just some of the traditional things or some patriarchal things. There are things like Courtney said that come along with, being involved with a man that we don't have to deal with. Thank you, Lord. Like, I'm incredibly grateful. I do not...
Thank you, Jesus.
I don't envy it. Like, I am grateful every day that I'm with a Black woman. I ain't built to be with no man.
I ain't built no.
I tried and I hurt his feelings. So like, I'm not the one.
Damn,
no, I'm not with that, like the patriarchal stuff. Like, you're not gonna, just by virtue of like your gender, you just automatically supposed to run shit. Absolutely the fuck not. Like, I can't get with that. So yeah, I think our communication, and the way that we view our relationship, because even looking at like your mom and her current relationship, it's certain things that I think are kind of like old school, even though like I feel like Courtney's mom is like kind of feisty, or just like I don't feel like she just take shit or whatever, but it's certain stuff that I feel like she does that is also kind of like traditional. And we're two women, so no matter how we structure our relationship, it's kind of like inherently non-traditional because we're both women. So yeah, I think that's how our relationship differs from the parents.
Yeah.
All right.
Can I just say, I don't want to throw my daddy under the bus. Like I said, I have no confirmation about these escapades. I'm just saying he's a hoe now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I didn't know him back then. I would like to think that he wasn't hoeing around on my mother-in-law and that his whole ways was like, once he became single. Because, I really do feel like he love your mama. So.
Oh, there's no doubt. I believe she's the love of his life.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely feel like my mother-in-law is like the love of his life.
Fuck up.
Yeah, that's also true. But, so I'm just hoping, I think, yeah. I like my father-in-law. He a little cray-cray. But aren't we all? But I love him though. He's good. All right. So, this question is interesting. It's interesting because of what Courtney was just talking about before we started recording. So the question is, how do you know when I'm really smiling? This is like how they wrote it. It's like several L's in really, more than the normal.
Is that like some kind of innuendo? I don't understand. How do I know when you're really
like not
smiling?
like fake smiling? Not like a fake smile, but like really like genuinely smiling.
I don't think I've ever seen you fake smile.
Okay.
Do you fake smile with me?
Before. Not with. I don't think so. I can't think of a time with you, but
I mean, in
regards to other people.
Yeah, I don't think
One time, my sister saw me fake smile. My sister Asia saw me fake smile. She was like, man, that wasn't good. She was like, that wasn't good.
Let me see a fake smile.
I can't right now. It was somebody said something to me, and I just wanted them to kind of get out my face. I was like, oh, okay. But my sister bust out laughing at me. She was like, that was not a good fake smile. Like, you clearly, it's like you were smiling, but you still kind of look irritated. So.
Wow. I mean, usually when she's smiling with me, the shit too genuine.
Oh,
you know
my
what I'm
God.
saying? Fuck
okay.
boy, fuck boy, Coco in the thing. Okay.
This is why we need couples therapy.
No, but I can't think of a time when I've seen you fake smile. I mean, so every time I see you smile, I feel like it's a real smile.
Really?
But like, I guess when you smiling like extra hard is when that little dimple pop out. Like right there, that's cute. That's real cute. Yeah.
I don't think I have a dimple. She swear I got a dimple.
Shorty, you tripping?
Okay. How I know when you're really smiling, I think it's because like the smile goes to your eyes. So it's like your face lights up. It's not just like a smile. I mean, I absolutely seen you fake smile for pictures.
Oh yeah.
Cause she hates taking pictures. So she fake smile for those. And I'm like, smile for real. So I can tell the difference even looking at a picture of us, if she's smiling like for real, or if she just like, let me just smile for this picture. But that's how I can tell the difference, because I feel like it goes to her eyes. It kind of like lights up her face as opposed to just being like,
wow,
her mouth or whatever. Like our wedding, pictures from like our wedding or whatever. A lot of those you like were smiling like for real.
Wow.
So yeah.
So I was happy and shit.
Nigga, you better be happy you got to marry me.
Oh, cool.
Come on now.
Cool story.
Niggas is hating. No, I'm just playing. All right, so that's it for that. So next, what I wanted to do was check in about individual therapy. So we mentioned on the first like segment of this that, you know, we were doing individual therapy. So how has that been going for you?
It's been going well. It's one of the things I look forward to every 2 weeks. I'm starting to wonder if it's like too much for her, because I'm like, girl, I'm coming to see you every 2 weeks. So I look forward to it. It's just great to have someone there to just talk to, get some shit off your chest, have continuity. Someone who's not afraid to just call you on your shit, who's not your wife.
Dang.
You know what I mean? Like,
dang, why you gotta be like that?
Nah, it's cool. Like, you call me on my shit, but sometimes I just want to cuddle. Goddamn. So it's cool, like, to have someone else who call you on your shit, and there's no hard feelings because I know it's her job. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little different.
Well, it ain't my job, but it's because I care. It's still coming from a place of caring about you as a person.
Cool.
Wanting you not to, you know, want you to be a good person.
Well, maybe I just want to cuddle.
Maybe I want you to get your shit together before cuddling.
All right, well, let her call me out, and then I come to you a better person, so you ain't got to call me out, and I can just cuddle.
See, that's why I be calling her out.
See, anyways, so it's been great. She calls me out. She speaks my language. It's wonderful. It's just cool to, you know, have someone to relate to like that. I've been enjoying myself and our sessions, I'll say.
So for me, I mean, I wish I could, you know, have a glowing, I don't know, experience like Courtney, but my therapy sessions are not frequent enough. So I actually have not had a therapy session in a while. And so I'm not really happy about that, because which I have mentioned before, but like I'm in a specific depression management program. And so they have a structure where it's once a month. And that's not working for me, especially when I have times where like I'm struggling more with grief, which is what has been happening. And just having that, the grief and the sadness is kind of triggering. It's like having it happen so continuously is kind of triggering depression, because they're not the same. Like, I can tell the difference between things I'm struggling with because of depression, or like me feeling sad or me grieving. And so I was feeling better, kind of like more so at my baseline with the depression, kind of like, you know, still, you know, depressed, but like functional, and, you know, just I can get done what I need to get done. But then dealing with like sustained grief for a while is kind of like exacerbating the depression or whatever. So the once a month therapy is not cutting it for me. And then to have that big of a gap, when I do have a session, it's like an hour, but like it's not enough time to try to recap a month in an hour. So that's been, I don't know, that's been an issue for me. I mean, I like my therapist. I've been seeing him now for over a year, but you know, just the once a month thing, it's not cutting it. And then I don't get to see him in person all the time because his hours are the exact same as mine. So we literally, our work hours are the same. So when I've gone to see him in person, it's because I either, you know, have a day where I like finish up early so I can make it to his last appointment, and stuff like that. So it's, you know, we've done like phone sessions. It's not the same. I prefer to see him in person. So yeah. So for me, individual therapy is kind of, I feel like to an extent at a standstill, because by the time, me going once a month, when I go, we kind of are doing this recap of like, okay, what's been going on before we can actually like dig into whatever it is we need to work on. By the time we recap and go back over, like PHQ-9 and all this kind of stuff, then it doesn't leave very much time to actually address anything new. And so that's very frustrating. That's not working for me. And then especially with, I thought that by now I would have kind of noticed some difference with my grief, and I have not. So that once a month definitely is not going to suffice for me. I can't. So that's where I'm at with the individual.
I completely understand that, because that's why I had a period where I went 3 weeks instead of 2. And
you weren't feeling it.
I was so unhappy. I was like, first of all, life is just moving too fast to go that long between sessions. I think I had seen her January 2nd.
Mm-hmm. And it was like February sometime?
No, I had just got back from
Vegas?
It was like January 14th. That's the last time I saw her. Right? And then the next time I saw her was sometime in February, early February. And something like that. Either way, it was like 3 weeks. You know what I mean? Things had been going well, and then Kobe died. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, I had plans to talk about something in my past that had been bothering me. You know what I mean? Like, now we can really get into something that kind of shaped me, and I really want to figure this out. But then life happened. You know what I mean? So if I would have been in the week before Kobe died, maybe I could have addressed that. And then the next time I saw her, I could have addressed that grief. You know what I mean? But because that happened, it's like other things every time I was seeing her, I felt like I was pushing other things on the back burner because life just kept happening. And every time we were addressing, it was just catching up and current things. And I was like, I really want to talk about, the trauma and the shit that shaped me, but I keep talking about what happened last week. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that's why I'm finally getting to talk about things that are shaping me now, because I've been on this 2-week schedule, and that's really helped us to get into that point. So,
I mean, part of it is too, like when you're establishing that relationship with a therapist, the first few sessions are going to kind of be like, kind of setting that tone or whatever as you're building rapport. And then after that, you kind of start to dig deeper. But because I've gone, and I mean, honestly, it's like 4-week minimum, because it's been once a month, but sometimes it's like, I might go, let's say November 4th and not go again to December 20th. So sometimes it's, 4, 5, 6 weeks in between me going. And so, when I see him, it's like, okay, hey, like, kind of what's been going on, trying to get current on like what's happening in my life. So there's a lot of stuff, past stuff, like early on, when I started therapy, one of the things he said, just based on things we're talking about, was like, he was like, oh, we're going to have to like kind of dig into some stuff that you've gone through, like some of your trauma, because y'all already know, unless you're new, like I already disclosed, like that basically when I did like a psych eval or whatever, they were talking about the things that I have going on was like the persistent depressive disorder, PTSD, and some anxiety, not generalized anxiety, but it's like circumstantial anxiety. It can be triggered basically. But the PTSD honestly has like never really been addressed. So because it's been, the depression is like my main thing. It's like the default thing that is every day, versus like anxiety is circumstantial. It's like things that happen that can trigger it, and maybe like trigger a panic attack or something like that. So it's not very frequent. So that's very like circumstantial. But the PTSD has never really been like for real focused on, because the depression's been at the forefront and because it's just not frequent enough. But early on, he was, talking about like some things that some of the ways that some of my behaviors and stuff like that. He was like, well, part of that is, came from like coping mechanisms and like survival mechanisms and stuff like that, for you to be able to like push forward and get things done despite trauma, basically, for you to be able to just like, put that aside and not, get immersed in it and just be stuck. But he was like, that's going to have to be addressed, because certain things that you're dealing with that you're kind of wondering, okay, well, why? Like one of my biggest things that I've had to work on, especially with my wife, it's just like, I'm very much used to like dealing with stuff myself, processing on my own. I isolate when my emotions get really, really difficult. And I'm very used to doing that. I always felt like I didn't want to burden anybody with my emotions, even though everybody and their mama be coming to me with their stuff. I just didn't want, didn't want to, I guess, like put my emotions on anybody else, or really ultimately rely on anybody to comfort me. But he was saying like, that's like a specific, like looking at that trajectory, that's a specific response to blah, blah, blah. So he had like outlined some stuff. I won't get to all that, but he outlined some stuff. And then he was like, so we're going to have to like really delve into the way that that trauma impacted you, because it has shaped, he's like, not necessarily like who you are as a person, but how you respond to certain things or your behaviors or whatever. And now you're at a place where you're recognizing the outcome of that, but you haven't gotten to the root of what caused it. All you know is this is what I do, and why do I do this, and I want to do something different. But I say all to say, we haven't been able to really explore that, because every session is like, let's get current, and so it's just, that's been really frustrating. And so it's caused me to feel stagnant in my therapeutic journey, because like some stuff I know already. I don't know everything. And he has brought up things that I was like, dang, why you gotta call me out? But it brought stuff to my attention because I didn't know, because that had not been addressed before. So certain things I know that I have depression. I know what my baseline is. I know kind of some of the ways that manifest, but things that are a result of trauma, I didn't know. Like, just some classic stuff, just how he was like, oh, well, a classic thing that people who have experienced trauma do is they intellectualize. So instead of you actually fully feeling your emotions and processing through, like, you intellectualize it so that you can move on. Not like you are just saying, forget how I feel, but it's like you basically kind of like dissociate, and you look at it clinically. Like, I look at it like I'm dealing with a client, instead of, actually allowing myself to fully feel it, because I don't want to take that risk of like fully feeling the emotions because of what might happen. So yeah, it's like that kind of stuff. So it's been, I don't know, a little frustrating for me.
Can I add that I feel like our relationship, me and my therapist's relationship, has grown. Like, it's not like I was a little apprehensive, like, obviously the first like few sessions, just trying to feel her out. But obviously, like, with her age and her never really having like a language barrier as far as culturally. And then once Kobe happened, and I kind of came to her with my grief, and we were talking about it, and then I kind of showed me like another side to her, because she was in the office very close to tears several times trying to talk me through it. And she's like, I almost called out of work several times. She had to stop speaking. Like, she was trying to stay in her role as a therapist while still struggling with grief herself. And so things like that kind of helped me open up more to her, seeing the more human side, because I kind of struggle with putting people in boxes, which is something I'm trying to stop doing. So, she's a human, she grieves as well, she's not just my therapist, kind of a thing. And so I think our relationship is growing, and hopefully that only helps me out in this process. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Being able to have, empathy and recognize certain things does help with building rapport. I know some of my patients who I have the best rapport with is because they know that there are certain things I can relate to. Mm-hmm. And that's part of, even in my role at work, that's part of the reason why I'm in that role. Like, that's something that all the folks who are in that role, we have some sort of lived experience, so we can relate to the patients on some level. And so particularly when I work with patients who are dealing with mental health stuff, and I don't delve into detail, but we can disclose certain things because we have that lived experience, and that's like part of our role. So when I have patients who are like, feeling really misunderstood, or they're like, these folks are just kind of throwing all this information at me, they don't understand. And I'm like, I understand, what I'm saying? I understand what depression feels like. I understand what anxiety feels like. I understand what PTSD feels like. I understand struggling physically struggling to get out of the bed, feeling heavy, you know, like you can't get out the bed. I understand the hopelessness. All of that stuff is stuff that I understand intimately. Or even with grief and all that kind of stuff, I'm like, I get it, you know what I'm saying? So you're not alone in it. And being able to relate to someone in that way helps to build rapport, and it helps to humanize, because when people are dealing with different struggles or whatever, a lot of times they feel dehumanized, particularly in healthcare settings, which can be very dehumanizing. So it can be to be able to have someone recognize your humanity and also see their humanity helps to build rapport. And it's a type of intimacy that is very important and can be really helpful to people as they're going through their processes. Okay, so the next thing that I have is that I wanted us to be able to circle back to love languages. In the previous segment, we talked about, like, we did the love languages quiz, and we both identified, you know, at that time what our top 2 love languages were. And then our, I guess, quote unquote, homework was to, you know, try to do something that spoke to one another's love languages consistently for a week or so, or just, you know, until we come back to y'all and tell y'all our business. So we did that. And I guess, like, for you, Courtney, what was that experience like, you know, in giving and receiving? Do you feel like, you know, your love languages were acknowledged, and like things were done, you know, that were specific to those things? So just from both ends, like, how do you feel about that exercise?
Well, I just want to say, my wife is an amazing woman.
Okay.
No,
I wasn't expecting that.
I feel like we didn't film. We recorded the episode a day or two before Kobe died. Mm-hmm. The goal was to obviously follow through with that. And reality was, we were both shell-shocked and grieving so hard that the world stopped I'm speaking for myself. The world stopped for me for 24 hours. I didn't eat that day. I felt like my body was in shock. You know what I mean? And I had to keep reminding myself to not only take care of myself, like get up, eat, take a shower, you know, brush, you have to live, you have to keep moving. And then I had to go, okay, you still have a wife, you still have a house, you still have to go to work. You know, just because you're grieving doesn't mean the world stopped. And so it was very difficult. And it kind of showed the challenges of trying to love when you're grieving like that. Shit, I'm getting emotional now thinking about it. Shit is so rough. I don't think I've had a day yet where I still haven't gone to work crying. So I had to keep reminding myself to come back and to try and follow up on our agreement, or to try and do the love languages for each other. So I did attempt, I don't know how poorly or how good I did, to follow through on love languages for you, quality time, and doing acts of service. So I did the laundry, I believe, a few times. I took out the trash. It wasn't like grand gestures, but it was just like, damn, I'm doing the best I can. I'm barely getting up right now. And then quality time, you know, I think we went to the movies a few times. I can't remember. It was so long ago. And then on the other end, I definitely do remember you doing things for me. I was in a haze, but every time I would poke my head out of the haze, I definitely recognize you doing things for me as well. And at the end of the week, I did I remember apologizing, I'm so sorry. I've been a terrible partner this week. I did the best that I could, struggling, and I hope you recognize the effort that I put forth. I definitely recognize the effort that you put forward, and sometimes life doesn't go along with your plans, and it was kind of a rough week, but yeah, that's basically my recollection of it.
The timing of it was, not ideal or whatever, but that's life. Stuff is not always going to be ideal. So yeah, we identified, the love languages. For Courtney, it was words of affirmation and acts of service. At that time, I know that I put forth effort to do both. I also recognize that I did more acts of service than words of affirmation. It wasn't equal. Like I can't say, oh, I did equal amounts of like words of affirmation and acts of service, because I didn't. But I did do both. But I primarily did acts of service. I recognized that Courtney was grieving. So I tried to just, I don't know. I kept that in mind when I thought about what I was, what my expectations were of her and all of that. So, I feel like, the effort was put forward to meet my love languages. But I also, like she said, she was in a haze, and I recognized that. So I feel like that impacted it, because I didn't feel like she was fully present. But I understood why. So I just tried not to like really, I guess, dwell on it too much. What I try to do was kind of just release my expectations, because I understood, and because I have been, grieving for a year. So I understand. So I just tried to be like understanding and just try to do stuff that needed to get done, because that's what we got to do. Also because, I recognize that over the course of me and Courtney's relationship, relationships ebb and flow. We go through things. We both have our things that we have to like process through and, deal with. But I also am very like, I can't think of the word right now, but I'm very clear on the fact that I have mental illness, and that this person has been navigating a relationship with me for over 8 years while I'm managing persistent depression, chronic, like mental health stuff. I'm very cognizant of that, and very like, for me, I felt like it was important for me to kind of adjust my expectations, because I feel like, in times where I was not able to be fully present, she still did the things that she did and all that kind of stuff. And that happens sometimes in relationships. It's not going to always be, we are both at 100%. I mean, it's not real life. When I was, struggling to get out of the bed, she was still, doing what she, was doing or whatever. And so that's just how it is sometimes. So when she was, when she goes through it and is dealing with grief, dealing with anxiety, whatever it is, I don't get to check out, just even if she's not present at that time. It's not forever. We are both allowed to experience whatever emotions we're going through. There are times where I have not been present. There's times where she isn't present. But the goal is to, come back, don't stay gone. We're human. So it's like, you may check out, but like check back in, come back, don't stay away. And so, for me, I just really, I guess, focus my energy into trying to just remain present and be available and be that person who stayed. Like, even if she had kind of like wasn't present, for me to be the person to stay so that she could come back, have, someone to come back to, if that makes sense. Because that is something that she has done. And that's something that we do in our relationship. I just feel like it's a part of our relationship. So yeah, honestly, I kind of just once that happened, I released my expectations. I just didn't have the expectation of those, of the love languages for me, like, to be met. But I still recognize the effort. So not saying she didn't do nothing, but I'm just like, I didn't have that expectation. I just didn't feel like it was realistic at the time. Like, she, got to go through it. And I also recognize too, it's just kind of, for me, dealing with grief and all that kind of stuff, like, I just kind of try to put it to the side to be present for her. Not like, ignore it, but just kind of momentarily put it away. And I know that's like my own personal thing. And a big part of that is just because, that's something that she's done. I've been, in the depths of a fucking terrifying depression. And I mean, she was present. So, I feel like reciprocity is important. Like, that's what we do in relationships. I think all we can do is like continue to try, take it one day at a time. And, but life happens. So some things sound great in theory, but it's like the execution may not look the way we think it'll look because life happens. And I feel like that's, part of it. Another thing too is like, I did make the effort to try to do things to speak to her love language. Was it exactly how I wanted it to be? No. Like, I wish that I had felt better, while I was doing it. I didn't feel bad about doing it, but like, I like to make, my wife feel like, she's cared for, she's loved, and all kind of stuff. But because of it was just a heavy time and, we both got our own stuff going on. It just didn't feel like I wasn't able to execute it the way that I really wanted to, in a way that was just, I don't know, I guess that came across as more loving. Like, I did it and stuff got done, but I was feeling crappy. So I don't feel like my execution was, you know, the greatest, but I mean, I did the best I could. Okay. Anything else about love languages? No. All right. And then we're getting close to wrapping up. So I wanted to ask, I saw this question kind of circulating on social media, and I was like, well, when I saw it, like something immediately came to mind for me in regards to us, but I was just curious. So the question is like, what are some of your favorite non-sexual intimate acts for us to like have with one another? Non-sexual. Let me emphasize for this one.
So, okay.
I feel like she about to say something wild.
Your mom doesn't listen to this, does she?
My mom does sometimes listen to the podcast.
Holding hands.
Okay.
I like that. I like cuddling.
Okay.
Yeah. I like showering together. Is that sexual?
No.
Okay, good. Because I like doing that.
Oh my God.
Sometimes. I like when you cook for me.
It's not really something us doing together.
Oh, yeah, it is. Because I sit there and talk to me.
No.
All right.
Barely. All right.
Yeah, holding hands, cuddling, showering together. I like when you rub my head.
Okay.
Non-sexually.
You didn't have to add that.
Well, because there's another way you rub my head.
Jeez. Oh my God. Okay.
Edit that part out. All right, go ahead.
No. I ain't got that. I don't have Charmaine's editing skills.
All right.
So for me, I would have to say, like, probably one of my number one things is definitely laughing together.
I hate that.
You know, when she not being a douche, one of my favorite things is laughing together. Just being, stop. Why are you doing this? And we're recording. Anyway, see, this what happens. But yeah, I would say like one of my top things is laughing together. Whether it's, you know, just watching something funny, probably laughing over Schitt's Creek. But anything that we find entertaining, especially, I don't know, sometimes I feel like we kind of get on a roll where it's like take one thing and it just kind of spirals where we're just kind of joking about it, going back and forth. So yeah, that's definitely one of my top things. I mean, I guess this is debatable if it's sexual or not, but kissing, I mean, I don't feel like it's automatically sexual. Hugs, like I like, you know, a nice solid hug. And then, you know, cuddling or just being able to like curl up together and like talk about something, watch something, laugh about something. Yeah, talk about crazy ass Mora from Schitt's Creek. So yeah, just being able to have like the laughter and the smiles and stuff with each other. Oh, and then another thing that I enjoy is like trying something new together. Like, you know, going to a new place, trying a new restaurant, whatever. Like just having a new... Intimate? It is to me. Anyway, so it's intimate to me because I feel like it's a new experience that we're having together. It could be romantic, it could be platonic, whatever, but just like it's something new that we're experiencing together and getting to see how that person feels about it, you know, that kind of thing. I think that's fun too, but probably laughing together is pretty high up there. All right, and then our last thing is we're going to do one more of the Skin Deep cards. This is very broad, but I guess we can end the episode with this. So the question is, how can we grow this relationship further? Now, we've been together 8 years. In lesbian years, I guess that's anywhere from like 16 to 24. Mm-hmm. Something like that. So yeah, but how can we grow it further? I'll answer first.
Please do.
So I think that something that I feel like we have done is that we I think we leave room for one another to kind of like evolve and grow and just like be who we need to be or whatever. So I think we can grow further if we continue to do that, to just leave room for one another to grow, change, whatever, because we've been together a long time. And when we got together, we were in our early 20s. So it would be ridiculous for us to expect, you know, one another to remain the same over the years. We're in our 30s now. So we're not going to be the same as we were in our 20s. And so being able to understand that and adapt to that and continue to get to know one another, I think is something that will help the relationship continue to grow. I mean, I feel like we continue to get to know each other, and I like continuing to get to know things about Courtney and just being open to that, not putting her in a box and just being like, she has to stay this way. No, like, I'm glad that 30-year-old Courtney is not 23-year-old Courtney, you know? So, yeah. So I think just being open and receptive to the way we're going to grow and change and evolve as we get older.
I think stay black, gotta help us grow. Just keep doing shit together. Keep trying new things. Experiment. I think that we should keep trying new foods, trying new places, trying new people. And as long as we do it together, we will continue to grow.
This is ridiculous. Oh my God. All right. So thank you for
what?
Thank you for tuning in.
Wait, time out.
I don't know. This is like, I don't know what's going on. This is veered into a real crazy lane. So Courtney has the giggles. I'm just like,
you're making me.
I'm just done. So thanks for tuning in to this episode. We're done. Yeah, that's all I got. So I'll holler at y'all in a couple weeks when the next episode come out. All right. Black Radical Queer is a ManeHustle Media podcast hosted by Jhavia and Nicole. BRQ is produced and edited by Charmaine Fury, and the show's theme music was created by The Brothers Records. You can connect with us on Twitter or Instagram at Black Rad Queer. That's BLK RAD QWR. You can also connect with us on Facebook through the Black Radical Queer Podcast Facebook fan page or the BRQ discussion group. You can get Black Rad Queer merch on teespring.com/Black Rad Queer, BLK RAD QWR. And you can leave a voicemail, call in, ask a question, those types of things on the BRQ Google Voice line. And that number is 937-601-8647.
ManeHustle Media. Turn your side hustle into your main hustle.